Hello everyone, Magdalena here, Wolf of Coins. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today I wanted to talk about one of the Slavic gods. To be precise, it will be mostly from the Polish perspective, simply because this is what I am personally focusing on, what is closest to me as a Polish person, and also simply I have the most access to Polish resources. So, but most of the Slavic beliefs have huge similarities between themselves. So what I'm talking today about can be applied to other thunder gods of the Slavic world. So I hope you will enjoy. Quick disclaimer at the beginning. The job of researching Slavic beliefs is very difficult because we have much less data than, for example, about Greek or Roman gods, or even Germanic, Nordic gods. So yes, there will be some things I will say and interpret, but if you come across someone who would interpret them differently, well, it's possibly as valid as my interpretation would be. We are here a bit in the dark, so I just follow my intuition. And here is what I have. Of course, I am using resources, books, articles written by various scholars and researchers, but and they interpret things their way. I mean, each of them has their own ideas, so you shouldn't be surprised if you read something somewhere that contradicts what I just said. This is what we have here, and yeah, let's start. So the thunder god, we have written data about him starting from the beginning of 15th century. Of course, these were chronicles written in Latin, so the transcription of Slavic names was a bit different than we would expect. So you will come across various variations of the name. He could be called Jessa, but this is not that possible an interpretation. It's just how it was written in Latin. It could be Jasza, Jasz, Jasz. Later in the folk tales there's also Jasień. So there are variations of the name. I decided to pick the name Jasz, and that's how I call him. Anyway, let's start with the meaning of the name. So the main meaning that I see is coming from the word for brightness, for light. In Polish we have jasny, meaning bright, and jaśnieć, to be bright. Then we see that in Slavic languages we don't have very often names starting with a vowel. So we often would add I, which is written as J in Polish, in front of the name. So a name that would somewhere else be Ash or As in Slavic languages is Jasz. So some scholars see similarities to Scandinavian Esir, so As for Lord, God, and also for Indo-Iranian Asura. That means the same, basically. So yeah, it's a lord of brightness. We see later also in Slavic beliefs gods such as Jarovit, Gieysztor, later also Jariło. They the part Jar means strength, and those gods seem to have similar functions. Some scholars also point to god Świętowit, who's very famous for having his own temple. Slavic temples were not a very common thing. Some people think it was in the answer to Christianity. But anyway, Świętowit has some similar points as well, such as a white horse, a horn, and multiple faces. Okay, I hope I won't do it too chaotically. Another name or title for the thunder god is in Polish. It's these days it's a common word. It became a proper name for thunder, so it's piorun, previously pierun. And we hear a lot about Pierun in the East Slavic beliefs. It means the one who hits. Prać is to hit. These days it means doing laundry, but it used to be really hitting your laundry, right? Anyway, so Pierun. Often in some sayings you would hear bright thunder, so jasny pierun. So jasny means bright and pierun, thunder. What else do I have here? I have notes, of course. Another thing we could say about him, he's seen as a knight. What I mean is that he's always traveling. On his white horse, he's traveling around the world, not unlike Scandinavian Thor, who also was a thunder god and who also was always like patrolling the borders to defend Asgard. And also the arch enemy of Jasz is the snake, the dragon. And which is possibly a form of god Veles, a god of the underworld, or in Polish Nea. And in Eastern Slavic beliefs, Pierun, as I said, got very popular, and then his characteristics got transferred to many saints, mostly very popular Saint George, who was also a knight and a killer of the dragon. And he became, before Christianity, Pierun, and then Saint George became the patron of the knights. So when we're talking about the saints, as I said, Saint George, and in the East also Saint Elijah, who had the power over thunder. In Poland also Saint John, because in Polish John is read Jan, so it's pretty close. And then Saint Martin as well, and I will talk a bit about it later. What else? He is also connected to Saint Jacob in Polish belief, and there is also a folk tale hero called Jasz. these days people just think, okay, it's Jasz because he is John. He's called Jan, and Jasz is like the diminutive from Jan. However, the research revealed that in folk belief, the name Jasz is a proper name, so it's not a diminutive of anything. It's just a name. So some researchers believe that he's the continuation of the god Jasz or Jas, which makes sense really. Do I have more on that, or should I go further? Sorry. I'm always afraid I will forget something. There is just so many things in my head. So yeah, let's just quickly talk about this folktale hero, Jasz. He had both. He was always traveling. He was traveling on a white horse. He was traveling in the skies. He had the power of the thunder and was also on many occasions compared to the moon. Which is my next point. Jasz most possibly was also connected to the moon, which is the moon is the giver of the heavenly waters. So here we have Saint Jacob, who again was the giver of heavenly waters, meaning rain. Saint Martin, it's November 11th, and to this day in Poznań, in Poland, but also in other nowadays in our cities and places as well, so-called Saint Martin's croissants, so crescent shapes pastries are being made, and some scholars believe that it's reminiscent of pagan beliefs in which you would offer horned animals, so mostly probably cows or calves, to the gods. So yeah, Saint Martin here seems he was also a knight again. So it seems that he took over here. Now about the moon. Did I skip something? No, I think it's okay. Moon, just in a second. One other point. God of transitions. It would seem that he was connected to the transitions from the dark part of the year into the bright part of the year, and from bright one to the dark one. And we see this in names we have for some, well, for example, in Polish, autumn is called autumn, where, you know, when autumn ends, or starts, it depends on the region, of course, but anyway, then the earth goes to sleep, the dark part of the year starts. It's called Jesień, so obviously connected to a hero called Jasień, or sometimes also the A turns into E in many examples. So we have whole season called Jesień, and then in Russia, I don't know if it's still so, but at least it used to be that March the 1st, believed to be the first day of spring, was called Avshin. So it's almost the same. We also see those saints and heroes holding a key to the earth. The tale says that Saint George or Jasz got the key to the earth from Mother Mary, possibly a shape of a goddess, and this key opens the earth in spring. Then he would also be like connected to other transitions such as twilight and dawn, and this trope puts him close to the Roman god Janus. Well, in Polish it's Janus, in English I suppose it would be Janus, but yeah, in Latin it would be Janus, I believe. In Poland, still to this day, name Janusz is extremely popular. I have at least 2 friends called Janusz. As I said, it's one of the most popular names in Poland, and also Jan, John, is another very, very popular name. So yeah, in some versions the key that the goddess gives to him is a flower, is the how is it in English? I will check this, hopefully. It's primula. So, you know, the flower that is one of the first to bloom in spring. And now, finally, I suppose I can start with the moon, because there is a bit more to say here. And many of you who are familiar with other ancient and pagan in general beliefs would be used to the moon being connected to the goddess. And when I was starting with my non-Christian path, I also I read a lot of books, of course. I read Robert Graves, where it is all about the white goddess, am I right? But it never really sank in me. And I discovered that it must be because I pay a really big attention to the language. The language is something of importance to me, and my mother tongue, Polish, like almost all other Slavic languages, has a male moon, which is not so uncommon, because in German we have der Mond, it's male. In Baltic beliefs, so Lithuanian, Latvian, Estonian also, I suppose, but I'm not sure, there is a male moon. And Baltic people were really close to Slavic people. The only exception I know is a Russian that has Luna. So it sounds as the same as Latin, more or less. I don't know the history of this word in Russian, so I won't be talking about this. But yeah, also in Polish we have the word łuna, which is similar, and it means glow. Like, for example, over the city you have this glow. So in most Slavic languages you will have the word in male gender and having the same meaning as the month. And the English word month is also connected to this word. So in Polish it's the month is miesiąc. In many other, I'm not a specialist, but it would be something like miesiąc or mesac. And in Latin we have the menses, right? So it's that, but Polish is another example of that there's an exception. So we have this word for the month, because of course the moon rules over the months. So miesiąc is the month and an archaic word for the moon as well. But for the moon we have the word księżyc. And when I was growing up, you know, I never heard any convincing explanation of that. It was just księżyc literally means the son of the prince, and or little prince, something like that, or our dear prince, because it can be also a diminutive. So nobody commented on that. Why is that so? It's weird. And finally, yes, I came to realize that it's because it was a kind of a euphemism for possibly the god connected to the moon that later transferred to the moon itself. So we know a saying that Polish people would say when seeing the moon in the sky for the first time in the evening, they would say "Witaj księżycu, niebieski dziedzicu," which means welcome moon, heavenly lord. And it so happens that this title, niebieski dziedzic, so heavenly lord, it appears in Christmas carols for baby Jesus. And another title that we have for the morning star is the most bright lady, najjaśniejsza panienka, and it also appeared in Christmas carols as a title for Mother Mary. So for me it's obvious that these titles were connected to gods and goddesses. To conclude, the moon is our prince on the white horse. And what I wanted to say at the end, I will just quickly sum this all up. So Jasz would be bright god of the sky, god of heavenly fire, meaning the thunder, and heavenly waters, meaning the rain, a traveling protector connected to the moon, as I said, not unlike Thor. I mean, Thor doesn't show that much of the lunar qualities, but he was the traveling protector. And I would associate him with eagles, because in those folk tales we have this hero Jasz also flying on an eagle, but in other traditions the eagle is associated with a thunder god very often, and also connected to water. Like, for example, the name for eagle in Latin, aquila. Polish pronunciation would be aquila. Anyway, aquila, which is connected to aqua, water. And then when we follow the linguistic research, it could be also falcons, jastrząb, because we have god Gieysztor, who is pretty similar to Jasz. Swallow, jaskółka, again similar name, and she. In Polish it's a she. So the swallows are connected to spring in many sayings, and the whole image of the swallow is that it's connected to spring. He has a white horse, like, as I said, like Świętowit of Arkona. And yeah, the tree would be the ash tree, because again in Polish the name for ash tree is jesion. So as I mentioned before, one of the versions of the name would be jasień, but we have autumn, which is jesień, and we have ash tree, which is jesion, which is obviously everything semantically connected. it was believed to be a sort of anti-snake tree, so to protect yourself from snakes or the venom of a snake, you would use ash branches. And it fits well with Jasz fighting with the snake, the dragon. What else? About the ash. I mentioned the y at the beginning of words. If we just remove this y at the beginning of Jasz, we get ash. And I think it's pretty significant. It's just connected, apparently. Then we have some flowers that are blue, like the blue sky he lives in. So we have jasieniec, and I checked, it's in English and in like the Latin name, or like botanical name, it's jasione, or in English I suppose you would read it jasione. But yeah, it's a blue flower that grows in summer mostly, I think. Then the cornflower also used to be called jasieniec, so the same name. Then he is the god of transitions. He opens the earth on the spring equinox with a golden key from the goddess. And I believe that then in autumn he gives it back, he passes it on to her, and she closes the earth. But that also depends on the region and times of happening. I just have some tropes that tell me that it might be the case, or I could interpret it this way. There is, for example, again, a Christmas carol in which Mother Mary says to already grown-up Jesus, I think, "Son, give me the keys so I can let the souls in." And yeah, another thing, one of the oldest Polish coats of arms, it's like first record, so it's probably much older, is from 1405. It's the coat of arms for family name Jasieńczyk, and surprise, surprise, it's a golden key on the blue background. And also there is a coat of arms of city Jasienica. So it's all those names are apparently connected. There's a knight on a white horse defeating a dragon. So you could say it's Saint George. But also under this image we have ash tree leaves, which is, I think it's very beautiful. So yeah, this is what I prepared for you. I hope you've enjoyed. As I said, it's not easy to come by resources in English, and many of you, I got some comments from you. Thank you so much for them. You write that you have Slavic roots and you would like to research your ancestry, but you can't because there are not too many resources available in English. So I hope this was helpful. And one last point for this video. No, there will be 2 points, because I also made a painting of Jasz, and I will just put some videos recording my progress and work on this painting. But one last point I wanted to talk about is, as I said, there are so many things we do not know that I feel like using your intuition, and it also is something I got inspired to verbalize after talking to Asha. Hi Asha. you know I'm talking about you. But anyway, if we use our hearts and intuition to fill in the gaps, we won't be wrong. It will be something that brings us closer to the divine. And so for me, the eagle that I mentioned before, that I would associate with Jasz, it's in many coat of arms or national emblems in European countries, and particularly in Poland we have a silver or white eagle, and I connected to Jasz, who is also a moon god, and his one of his colors, in my opinion, would be, well, first would be blue, the other would be white or silver, and blue and silver also portray the thunder really well for me too. So I would say that with the national emblem being a symbol of a god protector, it's just beautiful. So it's a silver or white eagle on a red background, and yeah, that's something to think about for you all of you Polish people. Thank you so much for watching, and see you around soon. Hi guys, so yet again I am starting a journey with a pagan painting. It's February 25th, but I did this sketch on Friday, so it was 23rd. And yeah, I'm planning to paint this until to have it ready till spring equinox. So I have still quite a lot of time, but I also have plans for another painting, so who knows, maybe I will succeed. And yeah, we will see. Now I will try and paint and put some color on it. My painting, February 26th, and I do have some progress. Yeah, I think I will be fixing a bit in this area. I hope I won't spoil it. But other than that, most of the colors are picked. The hair will be dark, the flower will be blue. And yeah, looking forward to finishing it. Guys, it's March the 1st. In some regions, the beginning of spring, and I have just finished my painting. So I'll just quickly explain what's here. So here is, of course, it's Jasz with his white horse. He's a knight, so he has armor, and yeah, so I also did this ponytail thingy just because. And here we have ash tree leaves that are, it's a tree associated with him, but he also has teeny tiny oak leaves here as well. The way I see it, this is the tree for him, like for his spring side, and this would be for the autumn side, but this is just my thing. Then he has an eagle here, and here is the golden key that opens the earth during spring equinox. There are swallows in the sky. There is a storm cloud over here. And lastly, we have, oh my goodness, what was this plant called in English? Well, anyway, blue flower also associated with him. And moon accents here and there. So this is my Jasz. I hope you like him. This is my painting!